According to ESPN's Football Power Index rankings out today, Tom Brady's Bucs have a 4% chance of taking home the Lombardi Trophy this season. And meanwhile, you see it there, Dak's Cowboys just ahead of Tampa with a 5% chance of winning it all. The Chiefs lead the charge. That kind of makes sense with a 21% chance to repeat and win the Super Bowl. Dan Orlovsky joining us now, and we're going to get into a couple of quarterbacks that are under the microscope this year. Let's start with you, Domonique Foxworth, on this one. Who is under more pressure heading into this season, Dak Prescott or Tom Brady?
I'll be quick because I'm really confused at how anyone could think that it's Tom Brady when the alternative is Dak Prescott. Like, Dak Prescott not only has to play for a contract potentially if they don't extend him long term, Dak Prescott is playing for everything. He's playing for his legacy at this point. Dak Prescott has not defined who he is. I don't know how you can compare Tom Brady's position to where Dak Prescott is. Like, as much as everyone knows I'm a big Dak Prescott fan, he has not won a Super Bowl. He hasn't taken his team deep into the playoffs. Tom Brady is set. If Tom Brady has an awful season this year, if he has the worst season in NFL history and throws 60 interceptions and no touchdowns, he's still going to go down as the greatest quarterback in NFL history and maybe the greatest player. So I'm shocked. I'll get out the way and see what you got here on this one, Max. But how can you possibly look at this and think that Tom is under more pressure or has anything to prove at this point in his career?
Well, I think both things are true. He has something to prove, and he's under more pressure. Not that Dak's not under pressure. I understand you're playing for a contract. That's a big thing. Brady's already made a lot of money, and he's got all the Super Bowl titles, although there are people like you, Domonique Foxworth, and many of you who are talking about Dak should get his money and he should get paid and da-da-da-da-da. So is there really that much pressure after the season he just had? 8-8 in the worst division maybe in the history of professional football. 8-8. Where the division winner was racked with injuries. He went 8-8 and missed the playoffs and couldn't beat a good team. You know, had those kind of empty calorie stats against bad teams. The point is, you're still talking about he should get paid. So what if Dak goes 8-8, 9-7, something like that? They don't make the playoffs. They make the playoffs, lose in the first round.
I'm the only one. I'm arguing with you
and everybody else
saying that he deserves the money.
No. Like, lots of
I'm
people.
the only one who says that he should get paid.
Lots of people are saying he...
That's not the point.
You're the only one? You're the only one? Have you been living under a rock? Lots of people are saying
finish your
Dak
point
should
so
be
Dan
paid.
can tell you you're wrong.
Okay. The point is Tom Brady playing for nothing? No, not quite. I've heard a lot of people look at tape and say, no, he's still got talent to win a Super Bowl. He has put on an absolutely loaded squad, at the very least offensively, and it seems underrated defensively when you look into it last year. I didn't think they were great defensively, but they ranked higher than the eyeball test would indicate. And offensively, they're just loaded with a great coach on top of it. I mean, he's very well respected. Brady is expected to get stuff done. He is expected. Now, what's the downside if he doesn't? Well, other than the fact that he's obviously no longer an elite quarterback and all that stuff, and even his defenders will stop saying that. What's the biggest, it's like one of the biggest sports debates in recent years, along with who's the GOAT, MJ or LeBron? Is it Brady or Belichick? Well, don't let Belichick win 9-10 games with Stidham. Don't let Belichick win a playoff game with Stidham and a roster that's been stripped, and then have Brady fall on his face. That, that would be because of age. No, not according to hey, Dan Orlovsky's here telling me, no, I've looked at him. It's not that he looks old. Okay, there's nothing on the line for Brady. That's pressure, my friend.
Well, I mean, there's obviously something on the line for Brady, but Dak is under way more pressure. Max, your disdain for Tom Brady and as a player is fascinating to me. Like, you talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers like they're the greatest show on turf. Like, man, this is an absolutely loaded roster. Listen, they got good players. Like, they got a bunch of good receivers, and obviously Gronk there, and the addition of Wirfs at tackle is going to be a big deal. But, like, this isn't, this is a good team that Brady's going to make really good. They had dealt with 35 turnovers last year at the quarterback spot. Tom Brady can just go play good, solid football, and the Buccaneers are going to go to the playoffs as an 11 or 12 win team. The reason why it's Dak Prescott is this. Everyone looked at last season and said, well, Dak was great. Dak had his best season as a pro. And on paper, that's the case. There's no doubt about it. But he was 0-5 against teams that had top 10 defenses. And He had 9 chances last year to go win the football game in the fourth quarter. That never got it done. Never got it done on those 9 chances. He was 1-6 in one possession games. And so for as good of a statistical season that he had, the moment when you go, that's the guy, that when we have him, we will always have a chance. He didn't do that last year. And to Dom's point, if he plays on the franchise tag, well, then he's playing for a contract. And if they give him his contract, you could make the case that the expectation, the pressure is even higher, because we know once you pay guys a certain amount of money, we don't care about what you do in the regular season that much anymore. We care about what you do in the postseason.
Dan, what
in
you're
the big
saying,
games. Take us to the NFC Championship
what you're
game.
saying is
Take us to the
underscoring
Super
my
Bowl and win
point.
it. And their roster is
What you're saying is underscoring my point. You just said this is a team with 35 turnovers. Just like you put Tom Brady, it's an 11 or 12 win team just by not turning the ball over. There are a lot of people like you talking about that. That's one of the reasons they're among the favorites to win the Super Bowl. What if they win 8 or 9 games? What if it's a 7 or 8 win team? What if they miss the playoffs? What then, Dan? When everyone's saying you just put a competent quarterback in there, plug them in, and they're going to be fine. That's not pressure,
Max,
especially if the Patriots ball.
No, it's not pressure. Max, the worst he's ever had turnover-wise in his career is 16 in a season. If he has his worst season ever when it comes to turnovers, they're a playoff football team in the construction of how wins or losses.
What if he doesn't turn the ball over a lot and they're not?
Turnovers. I understand your point, Max. The only argument you make that has any credence to me is the Brady versus Belichick thing. If Brady cares about being considered better than Belichick or being considered the main reason why they won, then maybe some detractors will take something from Brady if he goes down to Tampa and fails, which is actually a possibility.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.